Hi everyone, in this series we are going to be talking about one of the most popular treks of Karnataka, the Kumara Parvata trek. I am Vishnu Benne from India Hikes. I have done this trek 14 times till now. Back in 2009 was the first time I did this trek, and as recently as February 2020 I did my 14th time on this trail. I have had a lot of experience trekking in this region which I would want to share with you through these video series. For more such videos about treks, hit subscribe and click on the bell icon next to it to get notified of our videos. In this video, I'm going to cover three things: when the trek is accessible, the best time to do the trek, and the weather on the Kumara Parvata trek. Let me tell you when the trek is accessible. So you can do the Kumara Parvata trek from September to March only. During the summer and the monsoon season, the trek remains closed. In the summer, it gets quite hot. It's not a pleasant time to do the trek as well. You get dehydrated very quickly, and of course, there's the scare of forest fires on the trail. In the monsoon, I've heard a lot of trekkers wanting to go do the trek, Western Ghat treks in monsoon because it's an experience of its own. But it's not a good time to do this because there is flash floods that's be happening, and the trail gets quite slippery. And since this trek is quite open and the open grasslands are there, the lightning strike is something that you have to be very careful about. So the forest department closes the trek, keeping the safety of the trekkers in mind, from summer and monsoon season. If you ask me when is the best time to do the trek, well, it's quite hard for me to choose because from September to November, you can see a lot of greenery on the trail, lush green grass, there's flowers that you can look out for. This one section, when you're almost near the summit, there's a rock section where it's filled with flowers, and that is something that you have to go trek for. So September to November, brilliant time to do the Kumara Parvata trek. But it's not a bad thing to do in December and January as well. You're going to see a different colors on the trek. All the greenery would have turned to brown color, and there will be less clouds. You can get clear views of the entire section, especially when you're trekking towards the summit and you look back, you can see the entire range of Western Ghat treks, and that is something that you have to trek for. The weather on the Kumara Parvata trek. Regardless of any time of the year that you're trekking in, you are going to experience a lot of humidity on this trail. Even though it's not that close to the sea coast itself, it's around 150 kilometers from there, but in this region it gets quite hot and humid, so be prepared to sweat it out on this trail. The mornings are usually quite pleasant, and it's a good time to cover a lot of ground on this trek. So I would start quite early as possible, in fact, because at around 11 a.m. it tends to get a little too hot. So I would plan the trek keeping these timings in mind. So check out my other video where I speak about how to plan the Kumara Parvata trek in detail. It's quite important that you watch this video before you go ahead and do the trek yourself. Speaking about the nights in the Kumara Parvata trail, it gets quite cool and pleasant. It can get quite chilly as well, especially if you're trekking in the winter season. I did this mistake of not carrying a warm layer with me, thinking it's going to be really hot on the trek and I do not need it. But I was proved wrong because in winters, December, January, February, it tends to get quite chilly in this region. So three things that I would remember to put in my backpack if I'm doing this trek is a sun cap, a full arm t-shirt to cover my arms from the sunburn, and a warm layer with me. Let me give you a tip. Call the forest department before you actually plan for the trek. They can give you much recent information on the current conditions of the trail, the weather on the trek during that time. These are going to help you plan your trek better. I have put the forest department's number down in the description below. Check out my other videos on the Kumara Parvata trek. I speak about how to plan the Kumara Parvata trek in detail, the travel, the food, camping, and also the permissions that you need to do this trek. For more such videos on trekking trails and tips, hit subscribe and click on the bell icon next to it to get notified of our videos. For more information on the trekking world itself, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.